Good evening. Thank you very much to the Economic Council, the CDU, for inviting me to be here. I'm delighted to be here today. And to everyone in the audience, happy Valentine's Day. So I represent the software industry around the world. I'm headquartered in Washington, D.C., but I spend a lot of time on the road because the companies I represent are literally everywhere in the world. And for decades now, technology and global markets have thrived, and they together have been the world's engine for growth. The pace of the contributions of these technologies has only accelerated in recent years. We have seen major breakthroughs in software, computers, and the internet, and those are driving forces behind a global market boom, creating jobs, new markets, and tremendous benefits for the citizens of Germany and every other country around the world. Today, software is allowing us to use valuable data that is exchanged globally. And it is revolutionizing the way we work, the way we learn, and the way we enjoy our leisure time. Across Europe, businesses big and small use data and software to grow. Manufacturers rely on data to manage their global supply chains. Farmers use global weathercasts to maximize their yields and minimize costs. Hotels, banks, retailers depend on data flowing across borders. App developers and startups use data to be able to access a global market. Credit card fraud detection, humanitarian response, research and development collaboration, all of these depend on software-driven innovation and international data. And being able to make goods and services in every country in the world also contributes to the adoption of new technologies. Smartphones, tablets, high-speed internet connections are everywhere. And soon, connected IoT devices and autonomous vehicles and computers that can learn will become everyday common realities. But to ensure that these possibilities turn into everyday common realities requires the right public policies, including open markets, harmonizing legal frameworks, and embracing global economies of scale. Today, we are at just the beginning of a data revolution, of Industry 4.0. And software is and will continue to be a major driver behind this transformation. If you look at the scale of the software industry in Europe today, it's very telling. Software contributes almost €1 trillion to the European GDP and 13 billion in R&D. And here in Germany specifically, software contributes 150 billion to the German economy and close to 3 billion in R&D, accounting for 5% of all private German research and development. Software-driven innovation moves at a breakneck speed. It has the potential to massively improve our lives and make us healthier, more productive, more creative, more mobile, and more connected. Great promise lies in harnessing emergency technologies such as AI, blockchain, 3D printing, 4D printing, data analytics. However, we are also at a moment when the global context is shifting quite dramatically in two ways. First, the overall strategic context is changing. So we have a new US administration. We have an increasingly assertive Russia. We have China keen to take on a bigger role in global markets, as well as Brexit and the implications that this will have for the EU single market. Second, we have increasing skepticism about technology from some quarters and digital protectionism on the rise, including in Europe. These changes could jeopardize the virtuous circle of tech and global economic growth, but they also present Europe, and perhaps in particular Germany, with a historic opportunity. By rethinking digital policy and becoming the standard bearer for global trade, Europe can breathe new life into the virtuous relationship between technology and the global economy. At the EU level, digital protectionism is reducing Europe's ability to fully capitalize on the great potential of software-driven innovation. Protectionism and misguided efforts to increase security have led some EU member states to support policies that are aimed at either limiting the free movement of data across borders or weakening encryption. These policies will undermine Europe's economy. They will also fail to make data more secure. In fact, they will probably backfire. Through data localization, some European governments are trying to favor national champions while also operating under the mistaken assumption that data that is stored locally is more secure. Unfortunately, these attitudes to technology and innovation are dangerous. The temptation to favor national champions will be to the detriment of the EU single market, arguably the EU's greatest achievement, and our interconnected economies, both of which are heavily reliant on data being able to move across borders. And it is also unnecessary. German companies can compete with and lead in their industries based solely on the strength of their own innovation. We know that some governments are considering whether weakening encryption is a good strategy for preventing terrorists from planning and carrying out attacks. Law enforcers have a critical role to play in fighting crime and protecting all of us, and to do their job, they need access to information. But to weaken encryption is a measure that is disproportionate and counterproductive. Weaker encryption will greatly reduce our resilience to cyber attacks, which are ever increasing in number. Germany is no stranger when it comes to cyber attacks. In 2014, an attack caused massive damage at a steel mill. In 2015, the Bundestag was attacked repeatedly, and in 2016, an attack against Deutsche Telekom affected close to 1 million customers. Weakening encryption risks undermining security rather than increasing it. And by rejecting data localization and by rejecting undermining encryption, Europe will be in a position to harness the digital revolution and stay ahead of the curve. At the international level, in Davos last month, President Xi delivered a strong defense of free trade and open markets. China is poised to take the lead in forging new trade alliances. Europe has the opportunity to rekindle the fire of free trade and be the catalyst for a new EU trade policy. And it should push for renewed efforts to overcome the stalemate on trade talks with trading partners around the world. And what is Germany's role in all of this? As the EU's economic powerhouse with a highly digitized and export-oriented economy, it is in Germany's interest to lead by example and be a catalyst for Europe. Germany is a world leader and excels in the production of automobiles, machinery, chemicals, transport, healthcare, industrial equipment. Everything about these goods is being digitized, from the design to the production to their everyday operations. Sensors allow them to communicate with each other to generate immense amounts of data that are then fed back into the design process to ensure that the next iteration of goods is even better. Software is being used by and created by German companies across the economy. BMW recently partnered with IBM to help drivers interact with their vehicles more naturally and be able to have conversations with them. Mercedes-Benz has joined the race for a driverless car and is looking into AI and to deep learning. Bayer is investing in intelligent medical appliances that can dramatically improve healthcare. Siemens software is used to design automobiles, and it's also used for 3D printing in aerospace, transportation, energy. Airbus is a leader in space technology, and I am proud to say that on Thursday, IBM will be opening the Global Watson IoT headquarters here in Munich. That will bring together 1,000 researchers, engineers, and developers that will be working with companies in automotives, and electronics, and healthcare, insurance, and manufacturing that are at the forefront of Industry 4.0. Globally, we are just at the beginning of the data revolution, and Germany cannot miss the beginning of this revolution. German industry will not only have to go through a digital transformation, which is true for any industry operating in any country nowadays, but if it wants to maintain its leading role, it will have to make sure that it comes out stronger on the other side. None of these companies will be able to thrive without agile government and agile policies that encourage innovation and foster the adoption of new technology. Similarly, none of these initiatives will thrive without open global markets. Germany's G20 presidency is an excellent place to start. It offers the opportunity to focus more on the digital transformation of the economy and to give new impetus to trade relations, especially in digital trade and data policy. But more generally, today's shifting situation presents a real opportunity for Germany to rise to the challenge of being the standard bearer of technology innovation and the champion of free trade in global markets. For years, innovation and globalization has thrived, pulling the world forward in their wake. The global context, however, is changing quickly, and it is threatening to disrupt this virtuous circle. To kickstart this global engine for growth, it is up to countries like Germany to take the helm of innovation-friendly values and the global economy and continue to carry them into the future. As Brigitte Zypries said in her first speech as Germany's new economic affairs and energy minister, in a globalized world, building walls is not the answer. Who, if not Germany, will stand up for fair and free trade? Thank you very much.